And now, everyone, please put your hands together and give a warm welcome to your host, Angelique Smith.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you to those of you who are joining us on campus, and also for those of you who are joining us online. I am very excited to be here with you. My name is Angelique Smith. I am the Director of Faculty Affairs and Development here at Full Sail University. I am hosting this session titled Work-Life Balance, Who Needs It? Hint, you do. I do. This is my own private intervention, and I'm so blessed to have these gentlemen here with me. So let me just take a moment to introduce these wonderful folks. First to my right is Ashish Manchanda, recording engineer and producer. Followed by him is Joey Morelli, and he is a senior video editor and compositor. To his right is Ricardo Ramos, story producer. And all the way at the end down there is Jeff Unay, who is a director, producer, and cinematographer. So please welcome them. And I would argue in every one of your cases that those are probably the briefest, most concise definitions of what we do, because it certainly probably doesn't represent who we are, right, which I think is what a lot of this session is focused on. So I thought today might be a little bit helpful, maybe as we first get to introduce each of you and get to know you, is there's two sides of our lives. There's this professional passion that we've all tried to follow, and then there's this personal reason or essence of passion of what we do and who we are. So if you could take just a moment to give us a brief intro of kind of yourself and what drives you both personally and professionally. Keep it short, because we're going to follow up on this throughout our presentation. And we'll start with Mr. Ashish here.
Well, so what's important, I think, we are ambitious. We started out as a recording company, and we've grown into an entertainment company where we have a video production house, we have a music production house, we do our music festivals, and we have a talent management wing now. So time can be a challenge at times, and as much as it is important to have like a great work profile, and we love to do what we do, of course, there's also, we've got family. So we need to have family time and me time to keep us going, with commitments that we have at home, and also a commitment to ourselves. So time is, I would say it's not always a challenge, but I think one has to learn and develop the ability to make time for all that we want to do. So.
Thank you. How about you, Joey?
That's a good answer.
That is a good answer.
I'm in post-production, so my time is all over the place. Thank God I'm blessed with a family that understands what I do for a living and how much passion I have for what I do, and they know when I have to spend long hours doing something. I end up making it up to them in the long run, but what I do when I get on a roll, my wife and my kids understand that I need to be left alone and to keep rolling. And yeah, it's nothing that's written in stone. It's just something. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's something that you just do it until it feels right. And sometimes it takes us very deep into the night. Sometimes day after day, weekends. But yeah, you have to make time. You make time down the road. You kind of slice out a piece of time for family, and it's all about me and my family. So my family is where I get all my strength, all my motivation, inspiration for what I do. So.
Truly. Ricardo.
Hey guys. So a little bit differently with me. I'm a story producer in unscripted. It can be anything from docuseries, reality TV, or competition shows. And depending on the show, on the gig, I can be in production, which, as you all know, it's long hours, 12 at least. But then I also do post, and those tend to be shorter hours. So I think time is like humanity's biggest currency. And you start thinking about who do you want to give your time to. And that's very important, have a good group of people, like family, friends, that can also keep you sane when you're not working.
Fair enough.
Right.
How about you, Jeff?
Wow, where do you start? Work-life balance. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what do I do? Currently, I work at Valve. It's an entertainment company in Seattle, in the Seattle area. Also, I am an independent filmmaker. I'm currently in post-production on a feature film, which is coming out soon. Announcement's coming soon. So right now, I'm deep in the thick of post-production while working a full-time job. I've been working on this film for over 3 years. So I work a full-time job, go shoot during the weekends, go shoot during the evenings. I have 3 boys, a wife I'm crazy about, and we just gained guardianship of my goddaughter, a 12-year-old goddaughter. So family is 6 total, feature film in the works, full-time job. I'm eager to learn from these folks here about work-life balance, but I guess the only thing I can immediately quickly say about it is, there's that old saying, and I really do find it to be true, is that you can have everything, you just can't have it all the time. So the way I kind of understand that is, if I'm really busy right now, which I am, it's my obligation to my family to carve out a time where it's specifically and strictly for them as well. So that's basically how I generally try to operate.
Fair enough. I would say there's probably different phases we've all encountered in our career, and for this group in particular, a lot of them will be facing graduation in hopefully the not too distant future. And we probably all remember those first jobs and those early days of having to prove yourself. And given that you're all from slightly different industries, are there any tips that you could share as they're starting to make their way into the world, and kind of how to set some of those priorities and what they should be focusing on most as they're first getting into the workforce?
I think once you start out, your primary job is to be great at what you do. It's a time to establish yourself. If you're single, you get fully immersed, especially in this industry, and use the early years to slog it out, to get good credits, to get well settled. Because as you grow older and you'll have a family at some point, then it's not about slowing down later, but it's the priority that you would have, and how would you organize your life in and around work. So you probably would not want to work as much as you did when you started out, and one doesn't need to actually, because life has lots to offer. So like Jeff put it really nicely, like you can have it all, but maybe not all at the same time. So I really like that line. So yeah, everyone wants to have it all, and I think you can. So just prioritize the correct thing at the correct times. When you're fancy free and footloose, is a great time to just slog it out, get well set, so that the next chapter can be enjoyed as well.
Good answer. Yeah, that
Good
was
answer.
great. That was a great way to describe it. I mean, that's pretty much how it is. I mean, you can have it all in front of you, but not 24/7. You know what I mean? You can't do it that way. When I first went into the industry, work-life balance doesn't happen. I mean, you literally, you want to make an impression on your employer. You want to make the best possible impression, and you want to do whatever you have to do to move forward, to gain momentum in your career and get it going. Like for me, I would stay late and work on private projects and like tweak current projects, or if an editor called in sick, I would volunteer and I would jump right in. And that's how my career got off the ground. Literally, I was a junior After Effects designer at an ad agency in Miami, and an editor called in sick, and they didn't. I heard them talking about it. They didn't even have to ask, and I just jumped right in. I said, I'd be more than happy to help you out. I just learned Avid in school. I can do this. And the senior took me under his wing, and he showed me, and I cranked out that first spot. And then after that, it just snowballed the entire. And next thing you know, I'm working triple overtime for like 3 months straight, and work-life balance. What is that exactly? What is work-life balance? I don't know, but I paid my dues. And when you get to the point where you pay your dues, you start to earn the respect of your employer, and that work-life balance kind of starts to come into play because they want you to be rested. They don't want to overwork you. Good employers won't overwork you. They will actually give you time to spend with your families and to recharge yourself and to go to the beach and to go to art, studios or classes and kind of expand your mind, because you can't sit in a cubicle 24/7 and just crank out content and not be creative and not recharge yourself. So work-life balance is very important.
And I do want to come back to that topic of staying creative, so hold that thought. But do you two gentlemen have anything you want to add before we jump?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so important to be a people person as well. This industry is all about, it's actually not about who you know, it's about who knows you. Because you can know everyone in the room, but if they don't remember you, then how does that help you? And I think it's so important to go out and, like he was saying, volunteer. There's different nonprofits that I volunteer with, and I've met incredible people through that. Or just a quick story, my first job, I was a PA for a show about boxing. And after a long day of shooting, I invited the executive producer for drinks. And we were just chit-chatting, and he was asking me about my long-term goals. And then the next day, he bumped me to associate producer. So you never know. It's just look for those people that can hire you, that can give you a job, reach out to them, share your story with them, and you just never know.
And the question was about advice for
early in your career, when you're first getting out of school, how do you approach that balance?
Having worked in the industry for a while, you get a lot of resumes on your desk and whatnot. But the thing that I learned was when you look for folks, you want to make sure that the person that you're hiring is really bringing something unique or exceptional, right? So as a student, you have to really kind of ask yourself, or even as a industry professional, what is it I'm bringing to the project or this company or this client that's really unique that they don't have? So a lot of it just comes back on you. Are you doing your research? Do you know the company? Are you bringing something exceptional? And there's really no excuse. You have that's the requirement. It was the requirement when I was in school, and it's the requirement you have now. No pressure. But it really comes down to knowing the company that you want to work for or the people that you want to work with, and bring something that they don't have currently.
That's good.
It's all great advice. I know when I had my very first job, it was very much I had something to prove. I was in a very male-dominated industry. I was the female on the entire team of IT professionals I was working with, so I had a lot to prove. So it was a lot of the, kill them with competence, see a need, fill a void, be there before they get there, leave after they get there, and make sure that my productivity exceeded whatever they did, and it was good. So, there's a lot of drive, and I think that early in your career, and this is where we're going to get back to your artistic thing that you touched on, Joey, I think early in your career, especially if you have some freedom, you might be inclined to really immerse yourself into that work. And, there is a degree of that I think is going to be important in terms of earning your place in the organization or showing them what you're worth. But I think there's also some danger of fatigue and burnout in these highly creative industries. So again, early in your career, you got to prove some things here, but you also have to stay creative. So how would you recommend them going about keeping some of that balance so that they can stay fresh and continue to bring new ideas to these teams? What are things you do for yourself, maybe?
I think sometimes I would do activities that are totally irrelevant to my profession. And let me see. I mean, I enjoy, going for a walk or a trot maybe a couple of times a week. I do enjoy going to the movies. So the movies are a great getaway for me, even though we work on movies and soundtracks. But it's just a getaway. It's just a different environment. Yeah, sometimes, which my wife and I, we plan but not very successfully because of my schedule, is if you can take shorter breaks and more frequent breaks, I think gives you a good, like a quick snap out of your little bubble that we stay in. It gets neutralized and then you get back to it again. So to stay fresh and very, I think just like what Joey said, it's very important to keep the creative angle going, and the creative angle will get going not if you work 24 hours, you know. So, and yeah, and I've been successful at making like me time, you know, more than any other, because my me time I can find during the cab rides. I can find my me time during my lunch breaks. So I've developed a little system over the, you know, the last many years that work for me really well. So I can get disconnected from what I do, and yep, that works for me.
Yeah, for me, it's I watch a lot of movies for inspiration. I spend a lot of time breaking them down in my head. I do family stuff, you know, like I'll go, if I'm working on a project, like a freelance project or something, I've been at it for like 10, 12, 14 hours, I'll just step out into the living room and I'll, you know, put on something and watch it with my son who plays, you know, we just wrestle around or whatever. Sometimes it just snaps me out of my funk, you know. It's hard to be creative on call. It's very hard to do that for me. Some people, it just comes to them naturally. But, you know, if a client asks for something and I'm having a hard time coming up with it, sometimes I just have to get up and I have to walk around, I have to go out, I have to walk away from the situation and kind of do something. I don't have any specific thing, you know. It could be going to one of the parks. It could be, you know, putting on a piece of music. It could be, that's the thing. And one of the things that gives me the most inspiration in my career is coming here during Hall of Fame week, because I get to talk to these brilliant people, and because I suffer from burnout a lot. I work a lot of long hours, and anyone who knows me sees a lot of pictures of empty parking lots on the internet. I post them all the time because that's my car. It's the only car in the parking lot because I work long hours. And sometimes it takes for a whole year, and then I come here for a week, and I spend a week, you know, I make new friends, I have my brothers and sisters, the staff, the students. I get recharged, and I get all geeked up about work from talking to you and from talking to them, and I learn something every time, and I go back, and it kind of gives me like 6 months worth of fire, and I'm totally back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe in order to stay creative, you need to stay with other creative people, probably who are a lot more creative than you. That's how I get more creative.
And adding to what you're saying, I think it's important to surround yourself with people that are different than you. Like one of my best friends in LA, he's a 50-year-old guy, and I'm learning from him and the advice, and always surrounding yourself with.
What's wrong with 50-year-old guys?
Yeah, really.
Nothing.
Right behind you there.
But I'm just saying, just learning from different kinds of people. And the importance of extracurricular activities and hobbies is so important. You need something to recharge your batteries when you're not working. Or in my case, I freelance, so sometimes I won't be working for a week or a month. You just don't know. So you need something to keep you occupied. Like I love running, I love going to the movies. Like I work in TV, but I don't have a TV in my room, and I don't have home internet. I know it sounds crazy, but I love it because I get to go outside, I get to unwind. So just finding activities or things or people, like I said earlier, that will keep you sane.
Wow, no home internet.
I know. It sounds weird saying
What would we
that,
do with our kids there, Jeff?
Yeah.
My kids would lynch me, I think.
I know.
Yeah.
It's the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, so I guess for me, I mean, we're all different, but sure, when you work a lot of hours, there's this excitement about it, like, oh wow, I'm working on something really cool. But after an extended period of time, you start really feeling it, like mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever. And whenever I really feel unmotivated, or I'm just, at the point where I'm just really just tired from working, I have this thing that I kind of think about is like, creating and then consuming. So anytime I'm creating for too long, I need to go consume. I just want to listen to music or watch a great film. If I'm making a film, I'm editing a film, and it's just driving me nuts, I need to just go take a break and go watch a really great film or something that really inspires me. And the thing is, if I'm consuming too much, playing too many video games or watching too many movies, then I start feeling that same type of, or a similar frustration where I need to just go make something. So I don't know. It's kind of one or the other for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I call them render walks. When I'm working and I'm working on something and I hit render, I just want to shake off what you build up a project up to a point where you hit the render button. I'm talking about After Effects now. You hit the render button, and now you know you're going to be rendering for at least 30 minutes to an hour. So I want to completely shake off, not just sit there and watch the bar tick along.
Yeah.
Get out, go outside, grab a drink or something, and go outside and just take a walk or something. And, yeah, I call them render walks.
So this is like permission that they're giving you to do these things.
Yeah,
Not in the middle
course.
of class,
Yep.
but when you hit those blocks. I'm fortunate I have this great team that, I'll bang my head against something and I'm like, I'm going to get this done before I take my lunch break. And next thing I know, it's like 7 o'clock and they're going, you should be home with your kids right now. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. So having a group of a caring community and the people that you work with who will, and if you're that new person, that new guy or gal on the set or on the scene or in the office that can help remind others to take care of themselves too, and that you're noticing these things. So I think that would be a nice value add as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you balance like your own like personal health and sanity? Because I know there's this family aspect. We just talked about how we stay a little bit creative, but what value do you place or how do you make time for your own health and wellness so that you can continue giving in the amazing ways that you all have to your industries?
I think discipline, and then after that, extreme discipline. So, so for me, it's been. I think I've been like fairly successful with it, especially in the last 7-8 years. The last year has been a little what I call the slipping year, where we've been a little more casual about time and health and food. But by and large, that I've seen that we've got to be really disciplined in what we do. Whether it's what you eat, how much you work, sleep is very important, and I have a thing that after work, after the family's gone to sleep, I make my me time.
That's
after
me, my team.
when everybody's gone to bed, then it's like I'm by myself. But the pitfall of that is that you wake up when everybody wakes up. Mm-hmm. So you get very little sleep time, and the sleep is extremely important. So if you want to stay very fresh and be useful, it's very important to get great sleep. So fortunately, I can get sleep. I can just go to sleep. So you develop techniques, but food-wise and health-wise need to discipline our lifestyle. Otherwise, it will definitely take a toll sometime or the other. The body is a machine, and it will run as long as it runs, and then at some point it will break down. So it's best not to invite trouble.
Yeah, I think in Japan, I think they actually have you can actually take a nap in the middle of the day at work. It's kind of like a power nap where it invigorates you. Mm-hmm. I think don't underestimate sleep, man. Let me tell you, because when you think you can work through the night. Yeah, you can get a project done and work till 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, but if you have to be on set or somewhere at the studio at 8 or 9, those 3 hours of sleep are going to catch up with you down the road, and eventually it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt your body. I learned recently, watching Ashish and his beautiful family. We met them last year, induction. I actually went vegetarian this year. And, coming from an Italian family where everything was meatballs and,
cheese is vegetarian.
Everything. Cheese. Yeah. The only thing, I still have a thing for shellfish, but I don't eat beef, pork, or chicken, or turkey. And I've lost weight. I feel so much better. I sleep better. and it helps me brain-wise, a lot more, snappy.
I don't know if we did
Except
that
for
to
right
you.
now.
So yeah, and I do yoga now. I also I do cardio work. I do body weight training, and it's something. Discipline is you have to make yourself do it. You can't. It's not stuff. You can't buy a gym machine and just put it in the corner and look at it and start to lose weight. You gotta pick it up. You gotta move it. So it's all about discipline. I mean, you're going to be sitting at your computer for long periods of time or your mixing board, and you have to physically tell yourself to get up. They've got things you wear on your wrist now that zap you. Get up and walk. Go walk around. Do something. You have to be disciplined. Yeah, that's very important.
And if you don't want to go full vegetarian, you can do what I do. I just don't eat red meat and pork, but I still eat chicken and seafood.
I started there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it sounds funny, but it's so important. Like, you can't help others if you don't help yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
So discipline is so important. Like, another thing I do, like every Wednesday morning, I'm with this amazing group of people, and we go run at the Hollywood Bowl at 6:30 in the morning. And it's great because it forces me to like wake up, I get my workout out of the way, I'll go to work. And yeah, proper eating is so important. And if you guys are planning on moving to LA, it's not going to be that hard. There's like smoothie places everywhere and juices, and it's great. But yeah, sometimes I feel like we forget about ourselves, and we have to be a bit selfish. Like I said, if you can't help others if you don't help yourself first.
It's very easy to get caught up in the junk food thing. The vending machines at EA are loaded with garbage. Pop-Tarts, chips, candy. It's just so easy to get caught. They have free cereal at EA. I mean, every one of them is sugar, 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 sugar.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it looks nice and it's free, but that's
terrible.
one thing you'll come across a lot is the word free. When it comes to free food, doesn't mean you got to eat it. You know what I mean? You got to be disciplined enough to not, eat a bowl of sugar or a bowl of fat or, just be disciplined and ask. Like my grandmother used to say, if you don't ask, you don't get. So if you're on a set somewhere, ask them, is there something healthier that you could bring for craft services? You know what I'm saying? Because they will, if you're working on a project and you're going to be there for a while, they will bring you some stuff and they'll, for you to eat. And you have to take care of yourself. You have to, because ultimately it's your engine that's going to fuel your creativity. And if that starts shutting down, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, I agree with everything. It's just know it's not easy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not.
You get sucked into working long hours. I mean, currently I'm working a lot of hours, and yeah, it can be rough. But again, it comes back to just thinking about this more long term, right? Like if you want to be creative and do a lot of really awesome creative things, and throughout your career, you'll have a longer career and you'll do more awesome, cool things if you're healthy, right? Pretty basic, but yeah.
It's interesting how the nutrition, feeds the brain, and the brain, when you start using your body and you have all of those things, it builds confidence, and that confidence just overflows into the work that you do and everything.
For sure.
I know even with our family, it's like I have the discipline, I think, hit home with me a lot because we have to schedule time, and I have a 17-year-old and my youngest is 7, and she can finally do the classes with me at the Y. So like twice a week we have a Zumba class we do together, and then I do my weights 3 days a week with my oldest and my middle child.
That's cool.
Scheduling time.
Yep.
So that there is me time, because otherwise I don't have the discipline to actually focus on recharging. So actually, one other thing I wanted to ask on the professional side. And again, a lot of these guys are going to be going into careers and, trying to start pouring themselves into what they think their passion is. Right. How do you balance when you're working on projects that maybe you're doing to stay busy and earn money versus ones that, knowing when to say no, when maybe you should be choosing a different direction? Because I think that's kind of an important part of balance as well. I think we're more creative maybe when we're doing something we're passionate about than those things that you can do it, but man, it just zaps your soul out of you. So how do you identify those moments when to say no and when to move on to something new? I need that magic bullet.
I mean, it's tricky. If you're in a job, then you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
then you do whatever comes on your table. But if you're a freelancer, and I think initially you'll pretty much have to take what comes your way, because sometimes you might get to do a job which may not be to your liking, but it might lead to something else because with whom you network. So I've seen strange things happen. I'll work on projects that were not really up my alley, but they worked out interestingly because something else happened. I remember that a few years back, my wife and I, we were out at a conference, and there was going to be a lot of performances, a lot of bands, and there was a lot of promise in the panels, and it was all that was great. But towards the end of the week, there was some security issues and some I think some clearances that the organizers hadn't done, and none of the performances happened. Okay, so it's like, and we were in Goa, which of course we weren't complaining. The setting was beautiful, but people had started, speaking negative about the performance, the conference, that things went out of whack, and but we hooked up with somebody, a young lady from Norway, and we set up a partnership that we work with our company and our institute back home, and we have a continuing relationship with them after 5 years. And while everybody was crying and complaining about everything, it was one of the best times for us, a relationship that started out from there. So not everything goes as per our plans, and we should be open enough to be adaptive to sometimes you might do something which you might not like, but you might meet somebody, and other gateways could open, so, yep. So I've seen that happen a couple of times, and it's okay.
I don't say no to freelance work. I don't say no. No is a, obviously it's a negative word. It's a pushback. I believe in being grateful for everything that comes my way. I do it happily. Some projects are harder than others, but they came to me for a reason. They chose me, and I'm grateful to be chosen. Every project I get, I think that it could be going to somebody else, and I'm supremely grateful to any producer that comes my way and hands me a project. And like I said, my family is very understanding. They know that this is going to go into the family. The money goes into the family, and we just move forward. There's going to be times, and freelance. That's the thing about freelance, is for me it's never steady. So sometimes I'll be busy for 3 months, and then I have 6 months of nothing. So that's another reason why I like to keep a job, full-time job, is because I like to have benefits for my family. That's very important to me. I'm always looking out for my family first. So as far as freelance goes, I I've never said no. I've rescheduled things to where I can't do it this week, but I'll maybe if you can hold on, I can do it next week. And if the producer really wants me, they will actually reschedule it and wait for me. So I'm blessed.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's so important not to say no, especially to those of you guys who are going to be starting, graduating pretty soon. Mm-hmm. Like my first gig in LA, I was a stand-in for this show, The Taste, on ABC. And I was literally getting paid to chop food and look nice on camera. But it's a great way to meet people. And then just talking to the PAs, one of those PAs got me my next job, and so on and so on. Or my last job, the one that I just finished, a show for NBC, I got through a recent graduate who just graduated, and I graduated from film 5 years ago. It's just you never know the importance of networking. But anyway, and then later on, as you start getting more established, in my case, I get to have more of an opportunity to pick shows. So I try to pick shows that will challenge me or that are going to teach me new things. And I also like shows that showcase diversity, that showcase women in a positive manner, or Latino people, LGBT, because I think that's important too. try to get
Absolutely.
involved with
Yeah.
those types of projects.
Yeah, right on, man. Yeah, you're gonna work on things that you're not necessarily all that excited about. Some things, I don't know. It varies. I worked on Catwoman. Okay, so you're gonna have those. But working on Catwoman, I was at Tippett Studio. It ended up being the second feature film that I worked on, and I had worked on Hellboy, which I thought was a fantastic project, and I was pulled off it to be the lead on Catwoman, and I thought, oh, but I want to work on Hellboy. Oh, I guess this is an opportunity, So the work I did on Catwoman actually went on to, allow me to work with other folks, and it's really about, I guess it's really about perspective, right? Like taking on a project, whatever it may be, and looking at it as a way for you to grow and to learn, right? Regardless of whatever it is it an opportunity to learn, And I think you'll always be able to find it. So, yeah.
So I love that. What each of you really talked about is reframing those opportunities as opposed to rather looking at it as a positive negative, but there's always something
Right.
good to be learned, some way
Right.
to stretch, and maybe it was an opportunity you weren't aware of yet,
Exactly.
which is, I think, crazy important to your growth, too. I think at this point in your lives, you all have these visions of where you want to go and where you see yourself, but being open to the opportunity. And I love, like last year we got into this big conversation about following your goosebumps and those things that are like your passion and really make you excited and knowing that you're on to something.
I like that. Who came up with that?
It was a conversation we had last year at some point.
That's
Maybe it
cool.
was Bruce Whitting. We were talking about Bruce Whitting maybe, but it was those things that, you're most passionate about. Obviously, you're going to pour more of yourself into.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's when the magic really happens. And
That's
I
only
think-
when you can do your best work.
Yeah.
Is when you're really, really into it.
Yeah, that documentary we screened last night, Hydrosol, on the main stage. It was a complete full-sail production. All of us volunteered for that. Did all the post. I did all the visual post, the editing, the graphics, the color grading, and totally did it for nothing, just because of the love of it, wanting to have a documentary on my reel, and just the project and the people. And I worked with Larry Katz for the first time, and he was producer for the first time. You got to try new things, Just put yourself out there. Don't think you need to get paid for everything, because sometimes some of the biggest things on my reel I did for free. So it's all about passion, passion, and that will come back to you tenfold. And we're talking about the projects that you don't necessarily like to do. So those are the ones that pay the bills,
Yeah.
Those are the ones that you're going to have to do. Sometimes you may have to do like 10 projects in a row that, really,
Yeah.
it's really not so. Did I sign up for this?
Yeah,
But-
it's so true, and I want to add into it because you got to think about it. You're going to be working on that project for months, so it's like, do I want to work on this show that pays me really nicely, but I don't care or don't stand for what they're doing, or I can be working on this smaller show, but get paid less. Maybe less people will see it because it's for a smaller network, but I'm happier and I feel good about my work. So it's considering those things. And once you get more established in your career, you'll start figuring those things out. But like I said in the beginning, try to do everything you can.
Well, I feel a little bit selfish because I've been asking a lot of questions, but I think we do have some time for some questions from our audience, if you all would be so kind. If you have a question for our panelists, if you could raise your hand, we will have someone with a microphone come to you. And then also for those of you joining us online, if you could direct your questions to the online moderator, we will take turns with those of you who are in the classroom and those of you joining us online, so we can get some of your questions answered.
Hello. It's weird to hear myself say this. Okay. So a lot of times that I find that my problem isn't that I don't have time, it's that I'm never in the right state of mind when I do have free time. So I'm sitting in 4-hour lecture and I'm like, really want to write something right now. I get home, I do my homework, I have free time, and it's just gone. So is there any way to kind of get yourself in the frame of mind when you have free time?
I've seen you've got to develop your own technique to safeguard those flashes. So I know what I do is I put down stuff on my phone or on a piece of paper, and then you have to have the ability to get back to it when you get back home, or whenever you make the time for it. So a lot of times you won't find time. I don't think anybody finds time. We have to make time for whatever we want to make time for, and then there's time for everything. So if during class hours you get this idea to do something, so the class hours are not going to change, correct? It's an eventuality that's going to happen. So there's no reason fighting it, right? But in the meantime, you can develop some little tricks for yourself to make sure that when you get back, and that's again discipline, that you will have to get back and you have to be committed, and only then that's how serious your commitment is. And if that is also not there, then you have to reevaluate your whole existence. It's like, why are you doing this? So you have to be disciplined and very answerable to yourself, that if you have an idea, it has to be developed, then you make time to develop it whenever you go back and make time for it.
Yeah, it's time management. We're all human beings, and as much as we love what we do, hey, it's work, right? Work as in you sit down, you create something, and it becomes a deliverable, right? So you have to be delivering, and the best way to do that is to schedule it as much as you can. For me, I've got kids, so if I know that I have a 2-hour window, and I'm tired, if I have a 2-hour window before the kids come home or whatnot, before I have to dedicate time to them, that 2 hours, I need to be working, period. Like, turn the should I or shouldn't I? No, do. Like, at some point you have to understand it's work that you have to deliver, So, scheduling is just time management.
Yeah, same for me.
Laying that schedule out.
You actually have to actually book yourself.
Yeah.
Free time. I don't have free time by accident ever.
No.
Okay. If I wanted to take the kids to the park, to Disney or something like that, literally have to plan it out a week or two in advance and book that day. Not going to work that day. I have to put projects aside, kind of part the calendar there. That's Disney, Little Stars and stuff like that. Not working that day. And I have to book it. I'm not kidding. And like Jeff said, man, it's amazing how all of us are saying the same thing across the board, because this is so true. You have a window of free time. Do you go out and watch TV and wait for your kids to get home or whatever? No, you have 2 hours to press forward on a piece of project, and then they come home, and then you have time with the family. You got time management is so important. So you become your own boss, and it's discipline again. It's all included in there. You have to snap yourself. If you're feeling tired, I don't feel like doing it. No, you have to literally, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get up. All right. It's like looking at that machine in the corner. I think I'm going to lose weight just looking at that. I think I'll be all right. No, all right. I'm going to get up and grab it. All right. So you have to, tell yourself to get up. And free time, I don't know what that is. I haven't had free time in 20 years.
And in my home office, I have a 4-month calendar on the wall, so it forces me to pick up a marker, and it's not on my phone because it's so small. I need to be able to see it every single day, like what is happening on the day, on the hour, and also, that calendar is also part of my family calendar. It's not just work, but scheduling out things like, okay, I have to do these things with the family. Date night with my wife, all that is mapped out, and I get her involved as well, and that's the only way this whole thing works for me is she comes in the office and we go, all right, what's going on this month? Okay, list these things out, and then I know my windows that I can really sit down and get a lot done.
It sounds obsessive, but it works. It's how it has to. It's because we do a lot of different things, have a lot of projects, different projects with different creative juices going for each different project, and each project needs its own time devoted to it. And it sounds kind of sick, but I kind of treat my family like a project sometimes. It's like this, I'm booked for you. I'm here for you guys. You know, I'm not working at all this week. I'm all yours.
Yeah, don't feel bad about it. A good friend of mine, she was complaining to me, like, I feel like every time I want to see you, it's like making a dentist appointment. You just have to. It's like, I do exactly what these guys do, and it works.
It does.
And it's a reminder, don't flake on people.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
nothing I hate more than,
yeah.
like, people
If you schedule
flaking.
it,
Yeah.
like I don't, if
Yeah.
you schedule it, you stick to that schedule.
Yeah.
Right.
Period.
You don't forget,
Period.
like you promise
Yeah.
somebody you're going to meet them, and then you don't show up. If you book it, if you put it down on your iPhone or whatever, and you put it on your whiteboard. I like whiteboards, by the way. Whiteboards are great because if something comes up, I just and I write it right up there, and you can change the dates and everything. And everybody uses electrical. I like Jeff. I like to see
man.
it. I like to see it on the wall.
And it's
in
a
big.
daily reminder every
Yeah.
day. Walk in.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
We're going to have you
going on?
guys
So
do
I'm
an
on top of it,
organization
you know.
workshop for us next
Well,
week. That's going to do great.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing for the doc we did that we screened last night. I had Pat Graham, the director, actually organize the entire hard drive before he sent it to me, because organization is the key to
structure.
post-production. Yeah, because you can't just get a hard drive with all the clips that have numbers on them.
True.
Because then you have to go through every single clip, and it just takes forever. So
Let's try to get-
organization, yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Let's try to get this young man over here. He's been so patient.
Hey guys, I'm Douglas, and the question I'm gonna ask is like something that I've really thought about because I'm almost graduating in the next 3 months, and the question is debt. You know, like to be honest with you, I'm very afraid. I don't know what to do, and I'm just kind of like asking from you guys, what are your thoughts about it? Tips and tricks of like battling that kind of scenario.
Battling getting into debt or battling?
Oh, just kind of like paying all that stuff.
Well, personally, I threw everything I had at my student loans. I was paying double, triple, whatever I could. I threw it at it. Every freelance job that I got, I took half the money and I threw it at my student loan because I did not want that in my life. I was insulted by that letter that came every month in the mail that wanted money from me for that.
It's really nice when it's gone.
I mean, literally,
nice.
I ate, I lived on, we lived very modestly just so I can pay off those loans. Debt is it's killing this country, debt. It's just an offensive word. It's like a swear word in my house. I don't, the only debt I have is my mortgage. I own my cars. I paid everything off. I don't like debt. I only use credit cards for their bonuses, but I pay them off every month.
Likewise,
I don't like debt. And I would encourage that anybody, don't use your credit card unless you have the money to pay for it every month at the end of the month. Don't run up stuff. Unless like if you, what credit card's great for is if you have a freelance gig that you're going to book for yourself for like 3 months and you need new gear, you go out and buy that gear because you're going to pay it off. And you're not going to go into a monthly thing or only $100 a month for 10 years. You pay it off. That's what I do. I use the credit card to actually for the bonuses, and then I pay it off at the end of every month. Debt, I can't stand debt.
And saving, this could be another workshop, but saving is so important, especially if you're a freelancer. So I'm always saving money, pretending that I'm going to be unemployed for a year, because you just don't know. So it's like half savings that you're never going to touch, and then savings for emergencies. I think it's so important. And try to pay off as much as you possibly can, so that you get rid of your debt as soon as you can. Yeah.
And look, man, you're not alone.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm
you're not
still
alone.
paying them.
I finished school here. I had 2 degrees. My wife has 2 degrees. And yeah, we don't have any school loans. It's amazing, but it's great. It's awesome. But we went through it, right? Like we went through it. Go get some work.
Yeah.
Go get some work. Pay that sucker off. There's really nothing to talk about other than
Okay, we
work.
have one more here in
You know
the
what I mean?
room.
Hi, going back to when to say no. Like here in Full Sail, I've been really involved in productions, but there was a time last year where I had like 7 productions at the same time, and I was burning out because I didn't have like enough sleep and all that. And now I'm like everybody's encouraging me to say no to some stuff, but I don't know like until what point. Like it's been hard. I don't know, what tips can you give
Well,
us?
you're in a unique situation here where you're under a time crunch where you have projects to finish, and then you're going to graduate and then you're going to leave. So you can't reschedule those projects. So you have to look at this. You have to look at the situations. Under this situation, you have to weigh which projects are going to look better on your reel, maybe. Which projects are going to teach you more about what you want to learn, maybe. There's a lot of different factors. I would definitely push my attention towards the projects that are going to be more beneficial on my resume, leaving the school. That's what I would do. I mean, to say no, it's very difficult. When I was in school, I didn't say no to anything. I worked on everything. Every project everybody asked me to work on, I did something. I would never say no. I'd always say, well, I would always have a compromise. Maybe I can do a little of something here because I have this over here, so maybe I can help you. You know, you can't give time that you don't have. I mean, literally, you can't give your whole self to 7 projects at the same time.
Yeah, and don't take on projects that you feel like you're not going to do your best work.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to do disservice to everyone around you, including yourself. Take on projects that you honestly feel you can do your best work.
Right.
You know, if you decide to take on a bunch of projects and things that you know that you're going to give more time to than others, you got to remember, you know, you're building your own reputation. And you think you might be doing great in this area, but these projects, these 2 or 3, that you're not doing a great job, that, you know, everything is just career building,
Yeah, on that,
relationship building.
following up on that, that's right, because you don't want to say no, but you don't want to say yes and then not finish something, because then you're going to get a reputation of somebody who doesn't follow through. And that's the worst thing you can have as a reputation is, so I would rather say no and like go to like 3 really solid projects and say no to those 4 and do your best work on those 3 projects, and then you'd have 3 solid pieces on your resume, rather than I'm going to do all 7 and not sleep, and then you spread yourself so thin and you're so tired that you got pieces of you all over the place, and you never really get to do your best work. That's perfect.
So prioritization is going to be key. I think we have another one here in the middle.
Hi, my name is Frank Holland, studying recording arts. Thank you guys for your time.
Frank?
So I have a question. Upon us graduating here, can you guys give us insight on kind of how you guys branded yourselves and what you guys did to stand out?
How do you?
How did you guys brand yourselves, and what did you guys do to stand out?
So branding yourself
Brand-
as you got started, branding.
I always wanted to be the go-to guy in every studio that I worked at. I established that work ethic and reputation early on when that very first time that editor called in sick, and I raised my hand and I volunteered to fill in. That was how I stood out. To this day, I'm the guy that my supervisor comes to when a project, they got stuck on something or they need something removed or fixed or that they can't figure out how to do it. They come to me. And that, to me, is the work ethic that I built since day one. I actually built it here. My son was born while I was in school. So I was working 3 jobs in school, and I still got the 100% attendance award. The work ethic started here. And I started standing out here, and I recalled that when I was out there and I was doing all this stuff, and I was working so hard to try to keep it together. But like you said, you got to be noticed. You got to get it out there that you want to be the man, you want to be the one that they're going to come to for troubleshooting, for this, for that, and that's job security, man. And when they know that they can come to you, that's job security. That's job security number 1. I would concentrate on that, being the guy, you know.
And also, excuse me, as a freelancer, always following up with the people that give you a job. Like every 3-4 months, I'll give the showrunner that hired me a phone call and invite her out for coffee or something, because then they'll keep bringing you back for other jobs. And you know, like I said, also meet people. It's like share your story and also be willing to listen to theirs and make a connection, and then the rest is history. Yeah.
It's good. I guess you got to prove yourself to be dependable. You know, do great quality work, and the rest will kind of fall into place. You don't have to do beyond that. You know, if you just keep it simple and very dependable, that's what like Joey said. You know, so yeah, just deliver.
We have time for one more question, or nope, no more. Oh, one more question.
How you doing, guys? My name is Keith Johnson. I'm in recording arts. So my question is on creativity. So Ms. Morelli, you said like you're not really creative on the spot, and I'm just trying to figure out, like, was that an issue with you in your career, knowing you have to like go back and you know, walk around and do other things to get those creative juices going?
Yeah, first of all, don't call me Mr. Morelli. My name's Joey.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you. My dad's Mr. Morelli, and he's not here. I didn't mean to say I can't be creative on call. I said it's tough. It's tough to be creative on call, because when you work for a company all the time, when they come in to you with a project, you have to be on point. You know, it's tough to do that. So what I do is I ask a lot of questions. I'll pull images from the people who are the producers and the creative people who write the stories and who want what they want from me. I ask them what they want me to give them, and I ask them, you know, I give them imagery, movies, magazines, anything to kind of spark something, you know, fonts, colors, everything, and stuff just starts to come together. I'll put something together and I'll show it to them, or I'll send them to like a movie trailer or something. Is this the kind of look you're looking for? Is this, because I became pretty good at mimicking things, like you know, movie trailers, visual effects, stuff like that. There's a website. It's called Art of the Title. It's one of my biggest inspirations for everything that I do that's motion graphics related. I do title sequences as well. And I go there a lot just to open up the mind, you know, because the title sequences are little movies all by themselves. And there's some brilliant work going on. I think they even added a title sequence Oscar, didn't they? Did they? Or it's one of them, I think, or an Emmy. I think they added a title sequence category because the stuff coming out is so amazing. But yeah, creativity on call is tough. You really, and again, the word discipline comes in, because you have to choose now to be creative. You're sitting there and you got a project coming on your desk. There's a script. You have to open up and make it flow. Sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it just, you get an image and it flows. But sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it just doesn't come. You know, it's like writer's block. You just can't get that first word out, and you're screaming and banging your head on the wall, and you got to go out and you go out and do something, walk around, I don't know, have a drink, whatever. But yeah, it's tough. It is tough.
I'd like to say one thing on the theme of the topic that we spoke today. It's very important to have a very understanding life partner. So like my wife and I, we run the company together, and and she's a great cook, and she makes fantastic food. She's multi-talented. So one has to look after each other. You know, it's very important. And for families, a lot of creativity will come when you're also very happy. Yeah. So you look after each other in different ways, and you have to come up and devise schemes to do that in whatever way possible. And I think it's so choose well. Apart from the job that you do, is a great life partner. You know, so you can have a great journey.
It's all part about building your team, right? Like building your creative team. Collaborate with the most talented people in your class. You know, collaborate with people that are better than you, right? I mean, A's hire A's, B's hire C's. You ever heard of that? Hire people that are like, work with people that kick your, you know, they will improve you. You know, you work with people that are going to fall under you. Good luck, you're done. You know, like, you want to be challenged every single day. And on the conversation of creativity, I mean, at least for me, you know, when creating film, story, short film, whatever, I always just try to take on each project that is kind of uniquely me, you know. I mean, something that I can bring to it that only I can bring. Like, I would love to hear music that is uniquely you. You know, not what you think people want. Screw that, man. Like, make something that is meaningful to you, and you'll be very surprised that there's a lot of people that can connect with that. And you know when people are faking it. You know what I mean? Oh, like delivering something that they think the masses want. You know, I want to see something that's uniquely you. And that, a lot of that is part of being vulnerable and sharing your own vulnerabilities. And if you want to, yeah, I mean, we're all human beings, you know? Like, you know, pull from those vulnerabilities, pull from that pain, and create something out of that. Create some art that you can share with the world, you know? And by doing that, you know, sharing that vulnerability, you know, you just create more empathy in the world. And I think that's what great art does, you know?
I think that's a great way to kind of end our time together today. I've learned so much from all of you, and I thank all of you. So, Ashish and Joey.
We'll send the bill across.
Pardon me?
We'll send the bill.
You'll send the bill? We'll continue. So Ashish and Joey, Ricardo, Jeff, thank you so much for all of your insight today. Thank you everyone for joining us. And have a great day.
It's nice getting to know you. Yeah, same here, man. Yeah, man. I'm 53 years old. I've never been healthier. It's awesome, you know? I know. I did.